G'day chunky chili dudes and dudettes, and welcome to another episode of Son of a Chunk, The Chili Hasn't Fallen Far from the Tree, Season 2, Episode 2. Welcome. We're so glad to have you on this episode. In this episode, we're going to be giving some life back to these plants. As you can see, a little bit of coloration leaving some of my chilies, so I want to make sure they're getting the right health and the right food for their health. Make sure we get them growing back. But as the man says himself,
I'm a chunky chili dude, I'm on with the heat.
On with the heat. Let's get into this video, let's get into the new introduction, and we'll see you right after this one. Well, g'day chunky chili dudes and dudettes. Welcome back to Season 2, Episode 2 of Son of a Chunk, The Chili Hasn't Fallen Far from the Tree. We're going to call this one This Is Love because we are giving these plants all they can eat. We're going to be doing as much as we can in this episode to give life back to the chilies as they're going to need it. This is going to be a very, very tedious season ahead with wild winds, as you can see behind me and in front of me, and all the wacky storms we're about to have. We want to make sure that we give as much hardening and conditioning as possible for these plants when it comes to the winter season, so that way we still get enough of a return out of these fruits while we are in these off seasons coming off the summer into autumn, where things tend to start dropping off. So we're going to get into that today. So let's zoom over to some of the chilies and let's have a bit of a talk about what's going on with each and one of them. Now, in the last episode we spoke, we talked about obviously wanting to get the health back in and rejuvenate the garden and get it looking as clean as possible, which what we did with the pine bark mulch. The pine bark mulch also is a good weed blocker too. So this is going to give us an opportunity to help contain some of the crap that's happening inside the garden on top of the weed mats, which is just blowing in from residual dust, extra seeds. I'm trying to keep on top of this lawn as much as possible to keep everything away from it. I did spend the better part of an hour a couple of days ago cutting the trail line with a pair of scissors because I wanted to make it look really nice. So what we want to do is we want to keep all the crap out of the garden and keep the good stuff in. So we want to start getting some of these off the tree. Now, at the end of this video, we'll probably harvest some of these chilies. But right now, I want to go through with you what's been happening to them and how they're doing so far, because they are doing exponentially better than I expected, especially this one right here. Now, if you remember at the beginning of Season 1, Son of a Chunk, we had quite a dead-end road with this one. We thought it was going nowhere. We thought it was dead. It was just a little stalk. I think I'll put a video up there of what it did look like. It almost looked just like this. And we cut it back. We cut it all the way back down to what we saw was just one last part of the green stem, and then we tried to give it as much love as possible, and then all of a sudden, here we are just blossoming with the abundance of firecrackers, and they're just going insane. So many things I can use for these chilies. I just need to get the time to harvest these things, which is what we're probably going to be doing in a very short video very shortly, just collecting them all, harvesting them, going through what they all do, what the capabilities are, what we can use them for. But right now, it's been amazing to see this thing come from near death to just life all over again, and not just life, but absolutely going insane over top with how many chilies it's provided, and still more too. I could see flowers over here, and when I cut all these off and give the energy back to the tree, this thing is going to go hard with as much of the remaining chilies as possible to get them fruited and ready to go for the next run of chilies to cut. But yes, all right, let's head over to this tree. Possession, this tree is to me. This one here is the one that I adore probably the most, and is my favorite child out of all of these. The reason why is because this thing has been the success story that started the whole thing. We've got Carolina Reapers literally ready to go. Look at these tails. These things are just nuts. I'm just going to pick one for you because I already have to do this anyway. But just look at the tail on those and the bumps, and it's just producing some of the best Carolina Reapers I have seen, and they're just so healthy and red, and the sauces that we produced out of these have just been nuts. This tree really has leveled the playing field for the Son of a Chunk factory here, because we are able to produce some of the nicest chilies to be able to do some of the coolest things with these things. And I can't wait to do more with what we've got right here, because this in itself was a long time coming, and now that we've got there, now the sky's the limit. We're going to be doing a lot more with this tree. But as you can see, healthy as a horse, ready to go, still flowering, still producing a lot of chilies. We've got lots of green ones just here. I've got red ones all the way down. I've got a lot of fresh ones coming off their flowers. This tree is be going for months to come. I'm sure I'm going to see a lot more out of this one before the winter season. So looking forward to that. All right, let's go talk about our trouble child. Now, I also had to be careful about how I zoomed on this one because right behind me is also to the giveaway of what we're going to be doing in the next video. But this one here was a dead set surprise to all of us. We spent a lot of time going, the leaves are looking great, the flowers looking fantastic, the trees looking great, and we saw nothing from it. But then all of a sudden she just woke up one morning and decided today was the day she wanted to go crazy. So now we have so many more Tabascos to take off this tree, and this tree has just shot from what it was such a small little plant all that time ago to now it's just this big shrub. And just looking so good, and I just can't wait to get all these Tabascos off and start our Tabasco sauce, which starting our ferment in the next episode. We definitely will be picking these ones to get into our ferment for the next episode, so I'm very, very excited. I can't wait for that one. We've got enough here to get ourselves started for the ferment. I think we're confident enough to know that this is going to be a very, very fun one to do. We might blend some extra chilies in there, but we're not going to keep all the secrets to you for now. We're going to keep them in the next episode. But yeah, apart from that, this thing has been looking insane, ready to go, and the chilies have just been great. We tried one for the first time the other day with the Chunky Chili Dude, and we both agreed that this was something different and well out of our platform of depth that we haven't actually tried before, but we're so excited to be getting a part of. So when these do become more available for us to harvest more of, we're going to be ripping into them and getting as many as we can into our fermentation process for our Tabasco sauce, which is going to be cool. Let's check it out. Anyway, on to the one that was the mystery of was this going to work, wasn't going to work. Let's head over to our Mr. Fothergill's Seed the Sauce Carolina Reaper. Now, I've got to take a step back and admire this one from a distance because this one really surprised all of us. The fact that this thing went from being just a seed in a pot to becoming the sauce to our sweet death, among with our other Carolina Reapers as well. But the sheer fact that we managed to successfully grow from seed to sauce one of probably the most iconic looking Carolina Reaper bodies with its curled in tail. This thing was just insane, and the fact that we can now see, and I can see as well if I look up closely, you can just see how many are ready to come along. I've got at least 30 along here, another 20 here, another 20 here. There's going to be a plethora of Reapers, but we are having difficulties with this one as it is starting to yellow off. You can see it's being overwatered, but sometimes that overwatering can also mean that it's underproducing any nutrients to the soil, which means we need to update that. Now, I have been power feeding, and with power feeding there is pros and cons. Power feeding obviously gives you your big green bushes up the top here, and it tends to sprout a lot more down here and give you a bit more life down here. In between, it kind of gets forgotten about and does kind of turn it into a bit of a tree rather than a shrub, which is what we want, because we want it to kind of be about this high and out here, kind of like our other Reaper tree. Just we want a low set, widened out, and then that gives us a long, healthy, strong fruit rather than us getting a few and far between. So that's pretty much our garden taken care of on this side. But if you remember, in the last season, we also did a second garden, and that second garden has a few little hidden gems in it. So let's go check it out. Now, this garden here was kind of something we didn't know if was going to work because it was a dirt patch for quite some time. As you can see, it does need a bit of a garden cleanup, and we're going to do that in one of the other episodes. We're going to clean this all up and get it going. But as you can see in front of me, I've got a couple little pots down here with some stuff that we're trying to figure out what it is. And a couple little pots back here. One is starting to flower, and you're probably wondering what is going on. We had chrysanthemums over here, we had basil, we had thyme, we had rosemary, we had oregano, we had all these other things, and now all of a sudden we've got this big tree and we've got 5 more pots over here. What is going on? Well, we got a bit creative, and in the off season we went and hunted for some brand new chilies. Now, we do have some of the old ones, we do have some of the more familiar trees. We do have our other 2 Carolina Reaper trees here. Obviously not growing as quick as our big one over there. It could be because of its pot that it's in. It could be holding off in its growth. It could be stunted. We are going to transport them out into bigger pots over the coming weeks. Then we have our Trinidad scorpions, which are starting to flower. Now, Trinidad scorpions don't need too much. They just need a little bit of food and a good soil base. Right there, what he's got is perfect, but we are going to transport him as well. And then we have over here, we've got a brain killer. We have our Trinidad scorpion Moruga, and we have ourselves another butcher here as well. So we've got ourselves an abundance of chilies over here, as well as our herbs that are going into our garden too. These things have been going very, very well. As you can see, the basil's going great, and I'm not touching it right now because we have honeybees here, and I'll let them take their flower because I am trying to set up a beehive in the back corner. So I'll let them do their thing and set up. I'm not going to say no to the bees. But what we do have over here is something else that I want to tell you about, and you guys will remember this from last season. These things are absolutely nuts. These are our yellow lantern butcherlokias. Now those, I would say, are the craziest things I've seen for the size that they're coming in. These things are nuts, and I'm telling you, absolutely nuts. I have seen sizes before, nothing as crazy as these and what they're growing out to be. But these ones here are going to be going into a yellow sauce. We're just going to do a very basic cooked habanero sauce with these ones, and we're just going to be doing a very basic fermentation as well. I've got to get myself some more jars over the next few days to ferment some more chilies because we've got so many more coming. I might even get myself a big monster fermenter because there's so much I want to do here, but a big monster mash as well. So we're looking forward to that craziness that's happening, which is good. But as you can see behind me, this garden is fluctuating just as much as possible. We have a couple more things that need to be growing, and a couple more things to clean. So without further ado, let's finish up the episode there. Thank you so much for joining me on this episode and catching up on what's been happening in the garden. And we will see you in the next episode when we unveil, finally, what is on that tree over there. Thank you so much for joining me. We'll see you in the next episode. Catch you then. See ya.